Everyone, today we're talking about the statements, He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. I'll read from 1 Corinthians 15 again. Then comes the end, when Christ hands over the kingdom to God the Father, when He brings every form of rule, every authority and power to an end. It's necessary for Him to rule until He puts all enemies under His feet. Death is the last enemy to be brought to an end. When all things have been brought under His control, then the Son Himself will also be under the control of the one who gave Him control over everything, so that God may be all in all. Now, I've talked before about the Ascension and how sometimes it's one of the most ignored parts of Jesus' story at the end when He goes into heaven. And sometimes we imagine Him as what I call rocket ship Jesus. He just kind of takes off into the sky, and that's the end of Him being with us, right? It's just an explanation for why Jesus isn't physically here anymore. But if He's not here like He was, well, where is He, right? Well, we say He ascends into heaven, but sometimes we imagine that means He's far off. He's not with us. And yet, if we really understand what Scriptures mean by heaven, it's everywhere. It's all around. It's just on the other side of reality. So Jesus going there actually means He's closer than He was when He was on earth in a physical body. So even the term ascension, I think we misunderstand what that's really saying. It's not about elevation, just that He went up high. It's He ascends in authority, right? It's a metaphorical ascending to a new level. So Christ now is seated on the throne, right, at the right hand of the Father, as it says in this statement. So it's saying that He really is the Lord. He really is in charge. And He's doing things to, as Paul talks about here, to take control from the principalities, the powers, these other forces that are at work in the world, including death itself. Martin Luther King famously said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I think what this statement is saying is that the one who's bending it towards justice is Christ. It doesn't just happen on its own. It's the work of God through Christ, through the Spirit. And there are all these inhuman systems of oppression. That's what he's really getting at with these idea of other powers. But really, they don't need to be destroyed. They need to be redeemed. God gave these different authorities for a purpose, and Christ is trying to help us turn them back where they need to be. So we join in that same work with the loving power of our risen and ascended Lord. Another important aspect of the ascension is that Christ goes with a resurrected body. He doesn't leave that all behind, right? When He floats off, his body doesn't float back down and His spirit goes up. No, He's still human, even though it's a perfected body. It's a way of saying that humanity is not bad. It's not something to be escaped. It wasn't for Him and it's not for us. So Christ is a human being at the heart of the universe. He was and still is the union of spirit and matter, of heaven and earth. That's still central to our story. And what is He doing? Where is this all heading? It's heading to the end when God is all in all. That's what Christ right now is working towards. That's the work that we can be a part of too.